Have to get that going.
There we go.
All right.
All right, we should be good.
All right.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Sorry for the initial glitches, but obviously we are back after a 2-week hiatus in our brand new recording studio.
Welcome, everybody. I am Christopher Barrow. This is Darcy Barrow, the brains behind the business.
But maybe not like technical support.
Zero technical support. And welcome to the Rental Rescue Show. It's another part of our summer series, right?
Yeah, I believe we're on episode 8 of our limited edition summer series. So we are taking it through the rest of the month, August. So I think this is we've got 4 shows. So this is the number 4 countdown. Super excited about our topic today. We are addressing a topic that is near and dear to our heart, which is passive income and profit for you landlords out there.
Which is another way of talking about this new concept that we want to drop on you called mailbox money.
Now, a lot of people, if you Google the term mailbox money, you're going to find a lot of reference to the stock market. The term mailbox money comes from the idea that you can be sitting anywhere, whether it's in your new recording studio or in that landlord dream toes in the sand.
What's that, Mr. Post Office? I've got a letter. Hold on, I'll be right back.
No, in our new house, the way we have to get our letters is we have to go to the thing where all the other people get, and you have to use your little key, and then sometimes you get packages in the other little thing.
Right. Well,
any way you get your money.
The bottom line is that mailbox money is when checks just show up in your mail on a regular basis. And that is sort of the baseline, the foundation of being a landlord. Like, that's the reason why people get into this game, is that they want to make money passively. Go ahead.
So when we poll landlords, whether it's our property management clients, DIY landlords, or newbie investors looking to get started, when we poll landlords and say, why are you in this business? Why are you getting into this business? The number one answer is retirement. It's that you want a plan, you want an asset that you know you own, that you have, that appreciates, while you ideally do whatever it is you want to do in the background.
On your own time, dress how you want to dress, showing up how you want to.
Right.
And the rental income that you get, the investment properties that you own, are the key to do that. The problem is that oftentimes people get caught up in the minutia, and they don't really understand what it's going to really take to take them from, hey, I've got this great idea of earning passive money with investment properties, to being toes in the sand, as we talk about all the time, on the beach, doing what you want to do. There is a gap between those two areas, but really it's not that hard to cross the bridge over that, from being not knowing to knowing everything.
Right. So we've got 3 key tips that we want to give you today. Little things, big things really, but little shifts that you can make in your mindset and your approach to owning your rental. They're going to help take you from this place, which is the landlord land of like, to this place, which is the landlord pina colada in hand, toes in the sand,
and the wife of your choice. I choose her, but the wife of your choice, or spouse of your choice.
It's important you continue to clarify that.
Exactly.
That you're here by choice.
I'm definitely here by choice.
It has nothing to do with shared property law.
Zero to do with that. Yeah. I'm just here so I don't get fined. Okay, so let's just talk about the 2 types of investors that we tend to run into. Now, the first type of investor is the person who is just like analyzing the numbers. They're looking at everything, like, when's the best time to jump into the market? Where's the best deal? How could I maximize my money? And they think, and they think, and they think, and they think, and they take zero action. They have analysis paralysis, and they're not doing anything. And this is the type of investor that's like, man, I just wish I jumped in 5 years ago when I started talking about jumping in 5 years ago.
Right. And what we find with this type of investor or would-be investor is that they're stuck in this analysis paralysis, and it doesn't have to be that hard. And we've spoken at length on this topic before. So you can ping us if you want to link to any of our past videos on this topic, because that's not what we're talking about today. But we do want to address this type of landlord or would-be landlord who gets stuck here, and who we find is a big member of our audience here at Landlord Code, because you're trying to educate yourself. So the 3 things we're going to teach you today are actually much more important than this like analysis paralysis of trying to find like the very perfect rental to buy.
Right. Exactly. And well, that brings us to the other type of investor that we work with, is the type of investor that generally we see more often than not. It was like, okay, I'm in the game. I'm doing all the things that I'm supposed to be doing, but I'm not really feel like I'm getting ahead. I'm not really feel like I'm getting to that place I want to get to in terms of relying on my investment property for passive income.
Right. And in particular for our brick and mortar business. So we also own Foundation Homes Property Management, serving single family homes in Marin County, California. What we find from many of the investors and landlords who come to us in that company is that people have come across these rentals, whether they've inherited them or it's been their primary residence that they're turning into a rental. So they haven't had to do this like scrimping and saving that people who are becoming an investor for the first time have. So they have not done any of this analysis. So on one hand, we've got over analysis. On the other hand, we've got like very little analysis beyond what rent can I get and like what's my mortgage. And there are problems with both type of investors.
Right. So there's 3 strategies that will solve a lot of these problems and get you on that path to making that mailbox money. Wow, we did that. We didn't even rehearse that. That's awesome. So
because you're here by choice.
By choice. So what's the first thing?
The first thing is something, if you've been following us, you hear us talk about very frequently. You need to treat your rental like a business. This is a mindset shift from either this was my house or this is my investment. I'm a landlord. It's not that hard. It is not that hard as long as you take the time to spend the planning and to set the rental up like a business. So the tip number 1 is in order to treat your rental like a business, you need process. And we're not talking about one little process. We're talking about when you go through the cycle of property management, if you think it starts with, let's call marketing.
Buying the property or marketing your rental.
Having a vacancy is the first step to qualifying the tenant, to writing the lease, to moving the tenant in, to the actual managing of the tenant.
Handling how you handling maintenance requests, how you handling inspections, till the actual end of the lease when the tenant moves out. Like I've always said, you'll never be able to judge the quality of that tenancy until after the tenant moves out. So knowing the process in each one of those steps, and there's a lot, will help you get to that place.
So if you think there's about 12 different steps, you can divide it up in a number of different ways. But basically our course, anyone who's been following us, it's not for sale right now, but we will be releasing it for sale again sometime this fall, TBD. Our course breaks down each of these sections of the property management cycle, and we give you a process for each of these sections.
And the important thing about the process is that we take you from a place of being reactionary to like, oh my gosh, this is happening to me. All this stuff is happening to me with my rental. My tenants giving me problems, all these things, to a place of being proactive and actually involved in your rental in real life so that when things do come up, you know exactly what to do without thinking about it.
And here's the thing, every single property management company out there knows that, unless it's like a one-person shop and they're just kind of winging it, which
they're brand new to the game.
They're brand new, they don't know yet, which like was us.
That was us. We did that. That was, you're looking at brand new people.
Yeah, multiple years ago. Yeah. But every seasoned property management company knows this. It's like non-negotiable. So if you're a DIY landlord and you're asking yourself, why are my tenants always causing me these problems? Or if you're this newbie investor looking to get started and you're worried about all these other numbers, the things you need to focus on are your processes, and they don't need to be complicated. We're talking 1 to 3 steps, 1 to 10 steps, depending on what phase it is, but you need to have a process and you need to have a plan. It's not complicated, but it does take some time.
The other thing is having optics, right? You want to know where you are so you can determine on where you're going. And the biggest thing about that you really need, that I really want to drive home with here is that you need to be incredibly brutally honest with yourself and your property for where it's at. Like you can say, oh, I've got a house in this really awesome neighborhood and things are going up and all this, that, but is your house updated? Is it well cared for? Have you put any money into it? How's your roof look? Those types of things. What's your bottom line look? How much money do you have to invest into your property? Knowing that, and it doesn't matter how bad the picture is painted. If it look, you can always build off of that to get to where you're going. If you are not honest with yourself, then you're not going to be able to write the most predictable. You won't be able to prepare right, and you won't be able to predict what you're going to do next because you're going to be working off false pretenses.
Yeah. So specifically, our tip number 2 for the day is to know your numbers and know your ROI. So we developed an ROI calculator, which again is going to be for our members and is part of our course. And we actually use it for a lot of our clients in our property management portfolio. And we used it for our own property when we were analyzing, okay, should we be selling this home or should we be turning it into a rental? You need to know your numbers, because just like as if you were to invest in any other business, say you were to open up a franchise, right? You are going to know those numbers, and they are going to be helping you know those numbers because they're taking a piece of those numbers in the case of a franchise. But any business that you would be opening up, right? That's one of the core keys to your success, is knowing your numbers. So when it comes to a rental, you need to know what you expect to spend on your maintenance. And that's when Christopher's talking about things like the roof, but also there are numbers to know, averages to keep in mind about your repairs. And when you know these numbers, when you know where you're going, as the repairs come up, they're not so scary. It's not like, okay, it's another $300 for a dishwasher repair. Or what do we have at one of our properties? I think I saw Glenn here, right? We've got something about a hot tub and water leaking over the edge and causing water damage. Like when you have money budgeted in for the unforeseen repairs, it doesn't become so scary when they actually come up, because you know where you're going and you know what your end result is with your number. And that is simply true for any business you have. Any rental is no different.
Yeah. And the other thing too is that you'll be able to budget for actual improvements too. So like if you know that by adding a new vanity or new appliances, a new countertops is going to cost X amount of dollars, but you know that's going to increase your rental by a certain percentage, you're going to be able to figure out when it's appropriate to make that investment so you can start reaping the rewards of your rental. And the third thing that we're going to be talking about too is setting up your team. Teamwork makes the dream work, and no one wants to draw. I mean, the landlord business is a super lonely business, but it doesn't have to be a solo run mission. Having a team in place is going to help you get to where you want to go, not faster, but like lightning fast.
Right. So you can do this whether you're hiring a property management company or whether you're taking the DIY route. We're not pitching necessarily either direction. When you hire a property management company, they're essentially your team, right? They're going to have all the vendors. They're going to have all the contacts. You don't have to go and find them, but you are going to want people like a CPA who specializes in working with landlords, an attorney. Well, your property management company.
A landlord tenant attorney that specializes working with landlords, right? And then also someone who, you know, your landscape team, all these people in place that you're going to need to know who are going to help make your property run better.
Yeah. So in our course, we have workshops, worksheets, not workshop. We have both those two.
We can workshop this thing to death though.
Yeah. We've got worksheets to help you, tell you, who do you need to know? You need to fill in their name, have their number ready to go, get their insurance information, make sure their license bond is insured, all that good stuff. We have worksheets to help keep you on pace to do all that. But if you're a DIY landlord and you want to do it yourself, one of the biggest tips that we can tell you right now is to have your team set in advance. Again, in the theme of treating your rental like a business, if you're opening up a business, it's not going to be just you. You're going to be hiring the pros. You're going to be hiring the people to help offset your workload, whether it's your employees or contractors, vendors who work with you. So there's nothing different about when you're setting up your business as a landlord.
And even if you're already in business and you don't have this in place, it's never too late to start. So don't feel like you have to go back to the drawing board, sell your rental property, start all over and build it back up again. You can start by building out your teams, and it's really simple. Just make the first phone call and maybe even create a flow chart.
Okay, so the 3 tips for today, again, to reiterate, are number 1, the first idea that you are a landlord and you need to treat your rental like a business. To do this, you're going to need process, and you need a process built out for every phase of the property management cycle. Number 2
is you know your numbers, right?
Know
your numbers, have optics so you know where you are and you can plan for where you're going to be.
And number 3 is to have your team set up. So you are not reactionary when a problem comes up, you know who to call. And again, you know where you're going with this team.
Exactly. All right. So we're not going to do any questions today, but we do want to talk about our membership or our waitlist, right?
Yeah. So we're not selling our course right now. We're going to be doing another cohort launch in the fall. So we're super excited for everyone who's asked us about that. Sheila, if you don't mind throwing up the link, both for people joining us in the Zoom chat and then on the Facebook Lives, that's the waitlist. So we'll be opening that up sometime this fall. In the meantime, we are finishing up the summer series. Next week, we are super excited. We've got a special guest attorney from KTS. That's one of the top go-to landlord eviction attorneys in the entire property management industry. They specialize in the state of California, but we are going to be talking about fair housing issues nationwide that affect landlords everywhere. So we're going to let you know the top mistakes that landlords are making.
Don't want to miss this one. It's got really good information, especially with all the things that are going on right now.
Yeah, so we're going to be here at the same time next week. It'll be Thursday, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. In the meantime, if you're on our list, if you're on any of our email lists and you have a question, feel free to write in. Or if you are in our Facebook group, we do offer the free coaching, free Q&A in the Facebook group. You can always put a question there.
All right. Well, thank you very much for showing up today, you guys. And if you are here, give yourself a round of applause, pat yourself on the back, because you are doing the one thing that a lot of landlords aren't doing, which is trying to educate yourself. So props to you. You've just elevated your game, baby. All right. We'll see you next time.
Thank you so much.
Next week. Take care. In the meantime,
Bye.
stay safe, stay healthy.